Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. Truth or politics? The explosive Kavanaugh. Hearings that divided America. Hello, friends, and welcome to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today we're diving into one of the most contentious and polarizing moments in recent American history. On September 27, 2018, the eyes of the nation were fixed on a hearing room in Washington, D.C., where two individuals' testimonies would ignite a firestorm of controversy and force America to confront deep-seated issues of power, gender, and justice. What happens when a Supreme Court nomination collides with the Me Too movement? How does a decades-old allegation become the centerpiece of a national debate? And what does this moment reveal about the fault lines running through American society? Before we delve into this complex and emotionally charged story, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you who support our work. Your engagement allows us to explore these pivotal moments that continue to shape our nation. Now, let's set the stage. It's the summer of 2018, and the United States is deeply divided. President Donald Trump has nominated Brett Kavanaugh to fill the vacancy left by the retirement of Justice Anthony Kennedy, a swing vote who had often been the deciding factor in landmark Supreme Court decisions. Kavanaugh, a federal judge with a sterling conservative resume, seems destined for confirmation. His appointment could solidify a conservative majority on the Supreme Court for generations to come. The air in the Hart Senate office building is electric, thick with tension and the acrid smell of fresh paint. A last-minute touch-up for the cameras that will broadcast this moment to millions. Senators file in, their faces masks of grim determination. In the gallery, spectators shift restlessly, many wearing buttons declaring, "I believe Christine," or "Confirm Kavanaugh." The click of camera shutters is constant, like the ticking of a time bomb. At 10 a.m. sharp, the gavel falls. Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley's voice cuts through the murmur. The Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order. Dr. Christine Blasey Ford takes her seat, her hands visibly trembling as she pours a glass of water. The weight of the moment is palpable. In a voice barely above a whisper, she begins, "I am here today, not because I want to be. I am terrified." For the next 4 hours, Ford recounts her alleged assault in excruciating detail. Her voice cracks as she describes the uproarious laughter of her attackers. The room is silent, save for the occasional sob from the gallery. Ford alleges that in the summer of 1982, when she was just 15 years old, Kavanaugh, then 17, had pinned her to a bed at a party, tried to remove her clothing, and covered her mouth to muffle her screams. She says she feared for her life, believing Kavanaugh might accidentally suffocate her. Indelible in the hippocampus is the laughter, Ford says, her professional expertise as a psychologist, lending weight to her traumatic memory. It's a phrase that will be repeated countless times in the days to come. Ford's vulnerability and sincerity strike a chord with many viewers, adding a deeply human element to the proceedings. For millions watching from their homes, her story resonates powerfully. She speaks not just for herself, but for countless women who have suffered in silence. As Ford speaks, social media explodes. Believe survivors trends worldwide. In New York, thousands of women walk out of their workplaces in solidarity. In San Francisco, a plane flies overhead trailing a banner, "Thank you, Dr. Ford." After a brief recess, it's Kavanaugh's turn. The contrast couldn't be starker. Where Ford was composed and careful, Kavanaugh is angry and defiant. His voice cracks with emotion as he describes how the accusations have destroyed his reputation, damaged his family, and upended his life. This confirmation process has become a national disgrace, he declares, his voice wavering between indignation and sorrow. "My family and my name have been totally and permanently destroyed by vicious and false additional accusations." Kavanaugh categorically denies Ford's account, calling the allegations a political hit job orchestrated by his opponents. He admits that he had been a heavy drinker in high school, but insists that he had never assaulted anyone. His aggressive tone, his tears, and his visible frustration paint a picture of a man under siege, defending not just his career, but his honor. The questioning that follows is a masterclass in political theater. Senator Lindsey Graham, his face contorted with rage, points at his Democratic colleagues. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. The room erupts. Behind the scenes, frantic negotiations are underway. Senator Jeff Flake, visibly shaken after being confronted by sexual assault survivors in an elevator, a moment caught on camera and instantly viral, brokers a deal for an FBI investigation. In the week that follows, the nation holds its breath. The investigation, limited in scope and time, becomes yet another flashpoint. Protesters swarm the Capitol, pounding on the doors of the Supreme Court. Over 1,000 law professors sign a letter opposing Kavanaugh's confirmation. When the final vote comes on October 6th, it's one of the closest in history, 50-48. Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed to the Supreme Court, but the reverberations of this moment are only beginning. The consequences of the Kavanaugh hearings reach far beyond the marble halls of the Supreme Court. In the 2018 midterm elections, a record number of women run for office and win, many citing the hearings as their motivation. The Me Too movement, already a force, gains new momentum. Specific policy changes emerge in the wake of the hearings. Several states pass laws extending or eliminating statutes of limitations for sexual assault cases. The federal judiciary revises its codes of conduct, implementing stricter policies on workplace harassment and mechanisms for reporting misconduct. The impact on future judicial nominations is immediate and lasting. In the years that follow, the vetting process for federal judges becomes even more rigorous, with increased scrutiny of candidates' pasts. The Kavanaugh hearings become a case study in law schools across the country, sparking debates about the intersection of law, politics, and personal conduct. Technologically, the hearings mark a turning point in how social media shapes political discourse. The real-time reactions on Twitter and Facebook create a parallel narrative to the official proceedings, influencing public opinion in unprecedented ways. In the aftermath, social media platforms face increased pressure to address the spread of misinformation and the polarization of political discussions. But the hearings also deepen the nation's political divide. Trust in institutions already low plummets further. A Gallup poll in the wake of the hearings shows confidence in the Supreme Court at its lowest point in decades. The partisan rancor surrounding the confirmation process leads to calls for reform of the Supreme Court itself, with proposals ranging from term limits for justices to expanding the number of seats on the court. For Ford, the process is a personal ordeal that thrusts her into the national spotlight. She receives death threats that force her to relocate for her safety. Yet she also receives an outpouring of support, with many hailing her as a hero for speaking out. For Kavanaugh, the confirmation is a victory, but a tainted one. His reputation, once sterling, will forever be marked by the hearings. As we reflect on the events of September 27, 2018, we're confronted with challenging questions about our justice system, our political process, and our cultural values. How do we balance the need to take sexual assault allegations seriously with the principle of innocent until proven guilty? How do events from decades ago factor into present-day judgments? And how can a deeply divided nation find common ground on such sensitive issues? The Kavanaugh hearings become a defining moment in the Me Too era, raising profound questions about how the country handles allegations of sexual misconduct, the role of partisanship in the judicial system, and the credibility of survivors versus the presumption of innocence for the accused. This is American Shadows, where we peer into the darker corners of our nation's past and present. Until next time, remember that history isn't just a collection of dates and names. It's a living force that shapes our world in ways both seen and unseen. The echoes of the Kavanaugh hearings continue to resonate today, reminding us of the ongoing struggles for justice, equality, and understanding in our society. Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep watching American Shadows. For in understanding our past and present, we gain insights that can help us navigate the complex landscape of our future. What are your thoughts on how the Kavanaugh hearings have influenced American society? How do you think future generations will look back on this moment? Share your perspectives in the comments below. Your insights add invaluable depth to these crucial discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most contentious chapters in recent American history. Until next time, remember that even in our deepest divisions, we must strive to find our common humanity.